Tonight's big stories. Senators Nancy Binay and Alan Peter Cayetano lock horns at the very first hearing to review the cost of the new Senate building in Taguig, with Binay eventually walking out on Cayetano.
Amid ongoing talks between Manila and Beijing, the Chinese Coast Guard's largest vessel, known as the Monster, was again spotted in Ayungin Shoal in the West Philippine Sea.
And labor unions of Sofitel Philippine Plaza have settled its dispute with management with an assurance that they will be able to return to their jobs once the hotel reopens.
Good evening. Welcome to the show. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Gretchen Ho.
And I'm Sean Yao.
Well, to say that things got heated at the Senate today would be kind of understating it. Senator Nancy Binay and Alan Peter Cayetano clashed in today's hearing over the new Senate building in Taguig.
They talked over each other, accused each other of politicking, and insulted each other at almost every turn. Things got so heated that Senator Binay walked out of the committee hearing.
In the end, though, the fate of the new Senate building, which we found out today, is now 852 days delayed, remains in limbo. Man Los Maños with a big story tonight.
So ba't ka galit na galit sa akin ngayon na nire-review ko yung amount na yan?
Ang goal ko lang matapos ang building na to.
15 buwan yung
Hindi
pastry
siya
sa mesa mo,
maging-
wala kang ginawa.
Senate Accounts Committee Chair Alan Peter Cayetano and Senator Nancy Binay clashed and butted heads throughout the first day of the committee's review of the new Senate building project in Fort Bonifacio, Taguig. The project was put on hold by Senate President Chis Escudero, who said its costs have ballooned to 23 billion pesos even though it hasn't been completed. Senator Binay, who was the former chair of the Accounts Committee before Cayetano took over, questioned why Cayetano was insisting that the total price tag of the building is 23 billion pesos, when according to the DPWH, it was only 21.7 billion pesos covering phases 1 to 3.
Records,
Well, your
records
answer
to
to
ng
me-
SCT, Senator Binay, that was given to me by the SCT. Who are your staff?
Yes. Wait,
So
sandali,
what's
Mr.
the problem?
Chairman.
No, ma'am, ginugulo mo yung hearing eh. Wala namang kailangan magulo. Yan ang sinabit sa akin. So kung sasabihin mo mali, edi ano yung tamang number?
Mr. Chairman, you're-
Listen to
Can
me
we
first.
just go back?
Listen to me first. No, ang problema sa iyo, you keep going around saying, gusto ko makausap si Alan, gusto ko makausap si Cheese. Nagkita pa tayo sa party, may cellphone, hindi mo na kami kinakausap, tapos manggugulo ka ngayon sa hearing.
Cayetano insisted the computation should have included the cost of acquiring the land, which is an additional 1.6 billion pesos.
Mr. Chairman,
Wala yung lote dyan, 21. Ma'am, bigay sa akin ng DPWH to. Ang problema, hindi ka nakikinig.
yun na nga,
Eh,
hindi ka marunong magbasa. 21 naging 23. My
Move on,
point
kasi
is,
out of order ka na.
There are talks that Senator Binay was considering running for mayor of Makati next year once her Senate term ends, while Taguig, a bailiwick of the Cayetanos, was embroiled in a territorial dispute against Makati over the jurisdiction of 10 Embo barangays.
Ma'am, ano ba intention mo
cost
sa
ng-
guguluhin mo yung hearing namin?
hindi ko ginugulo yung hearing.
It's 23 billion total. Ang dami mo nang inimbento sa media kung saan-saan mo na
Wala
dinala
ho
yung
akong
issue.
iniimbento.
Invento ka, naka-10 interview ka. Baka naman ito yung Makati, Taguig. Hindi mo man lang iniba yung question dun sa radyo, lahat sila pare-pareho question, eksakto pa. Di halatang ikaw nagbigay ng question. Ano namang kilalaman? Ano namang kilalaman ng
Bakit naman ako
Taguig?
magbibigay ng question sa media,
So, napakagaling
Mr. Chairman? Baka gawain mo yung nagbibigay ng tanong sa mga media.
Recall that Binay spoke at a press conference yesterday, July 2, where she suggested that the issue over the new Senate building cost was politically motivated. Binay also mentioned that there was a certain senator going around stabbing her in the back.
Ikaw yung pumupunta sa media, sa radyo, kung ano-anong paninira, kung ano sinasabi mo sa akin. Sabi mo, may sumasaksak sa likod mo. Di kasuhan mo ng attempted murder. Sino ba sumasaksak sa likod mo? Wala akong alam doon.
Sige, bubulong ko sa'yo mamaya kung sino yung sumasaksak.
Oh, pero hindi ako. Ano kilalaman ko doon is sasabihin mo...
Actually, Mr. Chairman, may sinabi ba akong ikaw? Wala akong sinasabi na ikaw, ha?
paano mo sasabihin mo sa media, may kilalaman to sa Taguig at Makati.
Pero
Hindi
sinabi
naman
ko ba na
marites.
Alan Peter Cayetano ang
Hindi.
sumasaksak
Pero-
sa akin? Parang, di ba sabi nila yung pag nagre-react ng
Ma'am,
ganyan, baka guilty.
Ma'am, basta sasabihin ko sa iyo, Lourdes ang pangalan mo, hindi Marites.
Cayetano also hit Binay for the delay in the landscaping of the new Senate building. He said a 600 million peso proposal was submitted to Binay by the DPWH as early as March last year, which Binay said she was still reviewing.
Mr. Chairman, we're in the process of reviewing everything.
So it takes you more than a year to review everything. Kailan matatapos yung building? Ako, baka hindi ako umabot katulad ni Senator Enrile na 100 taon.
Hindi. Kung ako ay nagpatuloy ng building, talagang pipilitin natin matapos.
Paano
to.
ka
In fact,
matatapos kung yung phase 3 mo, 1 taon na sa'yo, at 15 months na sa mesa mo, then you
Kaya.
have the gall to tell all of us na yung delay na sa amin?
The argument kept coming back to the 23 billion peso figure, so Binay eventually grilled the DPWH executive in charge of the project.
Yes or no lang, o can they answer?
sige.
Can they answer? On your end, DPWH, nag-i-exist ba sa documents nyo yung amount na 23 billion?
There is none, Mr. Chair.
Oh, there's no such thing as 23 billion sa
Paulit-ulit na tayo
DPWH.
kanina
Thank
pa
you,
na
Mr. Chair.
21.7 billion. Kabuang Kanaday. Tapusin natin na maayos to. Senado to ng Pilipinas, hindi to palengke.
One other notable thing that came up in the hearing was that the new Senate building project has been delayed by 852 days. Because of this, almost 79 million pesos in charges have been added to the construction cost. The hearing on the matter will continue next week. Reporting for News 5, Mean Los Baños, we are One News.
Well, after she walked out, Senator Nancy Binay was ambushed by reporters in the hallway. And here's a snippet of that interview courtesy of our Senate reporter, Mean Los Baños.
Mukhang dun talaga, this is a replay of the 24 Senate hearings noong 2015.
Ma'am, tinawag pa kayo, hindi daw si Lourdes, Marites daw.
Oo nga, ginawa niya pa akong marites. Pero sino kaya yung nagmamarites sa amin dalawa? Dahil, di ba ang linaw-linaw? Pareho naman tayo marunong magpasa. May nakita na ba kayo dun sa report ng DPWH na 23? Di ba ang lahi ng 21 sa 23? So, obvious kung sino yung mali-mali yung sinasabi. Dun sa hearing, dun sa opening statement pa lang, ang tunog ng hearings, di ba? So, tingnan natin kung tatalunin ba nito yung record na 24 hearings noong 2015. Siyempre, tao lang din naman tayo. And parang yung sugat na akala ko naghilom na, parang binuksan muli dahil naaalala ko yung ginawa sa pamilya ko kung paano nila sinira yung pangalan namin. I think the mere fact nung pinutok nila yung amount, hindi ko alam kung ang intention talaga at the end of the day, bahagi din ng intention nila isirain yung institusyon.
Feed daw ng questions.
Ha? Oo nga aminin nyo muna, nag-feed daw kayo tinifeed ko daw kayo ng questions. Parang, ganun ba ako kalakas at kaya ko kayong diktahan lahat?
Hindi may paliwanag sa inyo paano naging 23 yung 21B kanina.
Yun na nga, isa di ba ang linaw ng topic, cost of the construction of the building. So dapat, ang ini-input lang natin yung, yung bahagi dun sa pagpapatayo ng building, di ba? Kaso lang, sinama nila yung land, tapos kung ano pa yung mga sinama nila.
Pero yung acquisition of land, separate yun, di ba?
Yes, yung acquisition of land, hindi dumadaan yung budget, yung pera na yon sa DPWH.
So,
Ang tinatanong natin kanina, yung part lang ng DPWH, di ba? Magkano ba yung cost na, magkano pera ba yung papasok sa kanila para matapos yung building?
But wait, there's more. She wasn't done. Just this evening, Senator Nancy posted about the issue on X, saying yung bisita natin mula sa DPWH hindi makapagpaliwanag ng maayos dahil binabara mo kapag hindi pasok sa gusto mong marinig ang paliwanag nila. Noong ako na ang bumaba para ituwid ang mga iniimbento mong numero, pinasaringan mo naman ng ganito ang media. Gaslight much, Sen Alan?
I told you to say that it got heated was a bit of an understatement. And just a few things that I wanted to point out for context. Actually, Senator Nancy Binay is not a member anymore of the Committee on Accounts. She used to be the chair.
She used to be...
Until the Senate coup, the Senate shakeup in May, at which point Senator Alan Peter Cayetano took
So,
over.
sa madaling salita, she was part of the Solid Seven that stepped down along with the former
Correct.
Senate President Mig Zubiri.
But actually, she's not required at this hearing. It's just that apparently Senator Cayetano did say at one point na she's welcome to attend as well
But this
because siya nga
project-
yung nag-hand over
for turning
ng
over.
project.
This project started though with Senator Panfilo Lacson as the chair on accounts.
Correct.
Right.
During that term, ang nakakagulat lang dito when the original contract price is at 8.9 billion and yun nga yung pinagtatalunan na nila na 21 o 23. So medyo malaki yung talon kaya pinaimbestigahan ni Senator Chis Escudero kung bakit naging ganun.
I don't know that
Since then though, may mga nakuha tayong dokumento. Again, wala pa tayong full picture, but a lot are saying hindi yung 8.9 billion yun yung phase 1, which is
Correct.
the
That's
core
just
and
phase one.
shell. But
Finishing
again,
yung may 13.
finishing talaga yung mahal. And everyone who has built something, they would know yung finishing talaga can really balloon the costs kasi ang mahal talaga.
But one thing to note though, the contractor of this project is the same contractor involved in the Makati overpriced building. Makati City Hall
overpriced parking building.
which is Hillmark Construction. So it's the same contractor that won the bid.
But again, this has been no secret. Medyo matagal nang tinatayo yung building na yan. There's also, it has been in the news. We have been tracking it. So nakakagulat na lang malaman, di ba? That one, 852 days delayed na siya. I think they should be looking into that delay because it has cost almost 80 million pesos. Just for the delays alone.
Pero
We're not
sabi
even
naman-
talking about
Good
the
they
project
are.
cost.
Sabi naman ni Senator Cheese, wala naman siya sinasabi dito na may nangyaring anomalya. Ang sinasabi lang niya, maybe we can investigate so we can bring it down, that figure. Kasi nakakagulat nga naman.
As well as the processes. Kasi I think may mga issues with the procurement. Of course, it's in 3 phases, right? So the 8.9 billion, as we were talking about earlier, yun yung core and shell. May middle phase and then may finishing phase, right? So they're, I think, somewhere in phase 2 right now. So, hindi pa yata nabibid out yung third phase.
correct.
So there
It's
are
one
these
thing
delays.
though to say that we're not saying that there's an anomaly here, but we will investigate. I find that that's incongruous with each other. If you
Kumbaga,
don't think
hindi
that
pa
there's any
nagko-conclude.
anomaly,
Hindi pa
bakit ka
nagko-conclude.
mag-investigate? No, but it's one thing to say outright now, oh, okay, I don't think there's any anomaly here, we just want to investigate. But I mean, by the mere fact that you're investigating and holding up the project says that you think there's something there. Do you know what I mean? Parang-
Pinapa-imbestigahan ka
Correct. And it's a very public hearing. So what message are you trying to deliver by holding a very public hearing on
Well-
this? And the fact that, as you said, 852 days delayed na, this adds to the delay.
yes.
What's
right?
surprising to me, just taking a look at that hearing, is that Senator Alan Cayetano is the chair on the Committee on Accounts. So parang sa pagbabalasa, nasaktuhan ba? Nasa kanya napunta yung
Oo nga,
chairmanship
of all
na yun?
people.
Kasi walang nagme-mediate, walang kumbaga, kaya sila sagutan ng hearing.
Siyempre, kung
Because there's bad blood between the two.
Oo,
because
oo.
of the Makati Taguig dispute.
Tapos, nag-butt in si Senator Robin Padilla. Pwede ba nating i-suspend muna itong hearing na ito? Diba? Tapos sabi ni Senator Alan Cayetano, hindi, tapusin na nga natin. Ito na nga. Diba?
Yung Senator Robin, nakitang-kita natin doon sa foreground na busy-busy kumakain na lang siya, trying to stay out of it. Well, I'm guessing this won't be the last we're hearing about this.
They will
Hearings nga
resume.
daw, diba?
They will resume the hearing, yes, but I don't know if they will get to the bottom of the question of where did that 23 billion peso figure come from? According to Senator Cayetano, it came from the former staff of Senator Binay, which she disputes. Sabi niya, in her record, it's just 21 billion.
Kasi kasama daw
As
yung
for
land,
him. Correct.
1.6 billion.
When you factor
Worth of
in,
land.
correct, 1.6 billion is the land acquisition cost. But the question was, and her point was that hindi naman that money did not pass through DPWH, right? That's separate expenses that was set aside to acquire the cost of acquire the land that's it's sitting on.
Kasi yung land acquisition, hiwala yun doon sa construction costs for which yung procurement and all of that dumadaan sa Department of Public Works. Right?
I think we need to
Get to the bottom.
go to the very first person who chaired this, Senator Panfilo
Senator
Lacson. As you
Lacson.
said, it's public appeal. We need to talk to you. Ano ba yung terms of that original contract? And by the way, I might point out that most projects here in the Philippines are almost always delayed, right?
Yes.
Especially
Private or public.
Private or
Any-
public,
yeah,
especially a project as large as this. There's always
But
delays.
800 days.
852 days. The
That's a
question
lot.
is that reasonable still? Or is there something going on behind the scenes? 852 days
Baka
is more
dapat
than 2
yun
years.
Baka yun yung dapat nilang investigahan, di ba? What's
Oh.
holding up the process? If
Why
it's
all
procurement,
these
the bidding.
delays? Correct. Anyway, we will continue to follow that story. Moving on now, the Chinese embassy in Manila has issued its own statement on the bilateral consultation mechanism, which was convened yesterday by both the Philippines and China. The Chinese Foreign Ministry said in a readout that there was a candid and constructive exchange of views between the two parties. The ministry said, quote, the two sides believe that maintaining peace and stability in the South China Sea serves the interests of both China and the Philippines and is also the common goal of countries in the region. But it also went on to say that the Chinese side urges the Philippine side to stop maritime infringement and provocation, earnestly abide by the provisions of the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the South China Sea, return to the right track of properly handling disputes through dialogue and consultation, jointly manage the situation at Renai Jiao with the Chinese side, promoting the easing and cooling down of the maritime situation and stabilize China-Philippines relation from further deterioration. To recap, DFA Undersecretary Teresa Lazaro met with China's Vice Foreign Minister Chen Jiaodong for the 9th BCM held in Manila yesterday. The DFA said there was substantial progress on developing measures to manage the situation at sea, although significant differences remain. Both sides also agreed to continue discussions to find a mutually acceptable resolution to the issues. And the pictures that you're looking at right now are not of the BCM, but of the U.S. Independence Day celebrations hosted by the U.S. Embassy yesterday, which was attended by top diplomatic and defense officials, where they spoke about Washington's role as a defense ally to the Philippines.
We have achieved significant progress in the past 2 years alone. We recognize the pivotal role of our alliance in strengthening our own defense capabilities and safeguarding peace and security in the Indo-Pacific, more so now in the face of challenges to international law.
Together with our partners, we remain unwavering in our commitment to freedom of navigation and overflight, and to the importance of respecting sovereign rights of states within their exclusive economic zones, consistent with international law.
Very neighbors, vice versa. With their allies. So it should be, and they're committed to our, we are all committed to a rules-based international order. That's why we are coming together. And they are consistent capability. They are a strategic partner.
Well, the escalation has been one of the headlines of today. So is there really the escalation? Because we have been reporting what seems to be some signs of the escalation. For one, when that Filipino fishing boat exploded somewhere near Bajo de Masinloc, mismong si Coast Guard spokesperson na ang nagsabi that the Chinese Coast Guard actually helped, or not help, but offered to help kung kailangan daw ba ng tulong after initially blocking them to see bakit sila gusto dumaan. Of course, in the end, the PCG said, no need for your help. Pero pinadaan naman daw sila, and then the PCG were able to help our Filipino fishermen.
Taking a look at the BCM, the statement of China, di naman nagbabago yung claims nila to territories in the South China Sea, but they added some lines relating to the escalation. Like they said, they were there to promote easing and cooling down of the maritime situation, as well as to stabilize relations. So medyo bago yun.
Pero ito rin yung ano pa rin the Chinese side or just the Philippine side to stop maritime infringement and provocation.
No, you gotta read it out in full. Urges the Philippine side to
Earnestly
stop.
abide by the provisions of the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the South China Sea, or the DOC, return to the right track of properly handling disputes through dialogue and consultation, and jointly manage a situation at the Renai Jiao with the Chinese side. Promote easing and cooling down of maritime situation.
Right. So the DFA statement came out yesterday, and the Chinese statement came out only today. The BCM was convened yesterday. As far as we know, they are holding talks throughout this week. But in the Chinese statement, which is shorter than the DFA statements, yun nga, that line, the Chinese side urges the Philippine side to stop maritime infringement and provocation at once, is a bit inflammatory, I thought, because the DFA statement, and it was 2 pages long,
as far as I know, didn't have anything that accused China of.
So no incendiary statements or little patsas from the Filipino statement.
I would say
Probably
they've been quite consistent in their statement. They've had those
Both
lines.
sides.
Yeah, they've had those lines like stop provoking the situation in the South China Sea.
Oh yes, I
Repeatedly
mean the
said
Chinese.
that.
You're right. The Chinese has been extremely consistent about this. These are all the same words that they've issued before. But my point is, this is the BCM we're talking about, and both sides agreed to de-escalate tensions, agreed to cool down maritime tensions, agreed to continue dialoguing.
To be fair, though, I think there was a little bit in there where they said, we will respect each other's claims in the region.
Without prejudice to each other's jurisdiction. Yes, I get it. But again, coming back to the point that why are we the one infringing and provoking, rather? The word infringement in itself has connotation.
It's good that they are back at the negotiating table. The DFA has said they've been working on bilateral talks since May of 2024. And ngayon, finally, China met up with them in the BCM. The BCM, actually, sabi sa akin, is usually scheduled twice a year.
Correct. Yes, that's what we were talking about last night. So, January was the first one, and now it's the start of July. So
usually around this time talaga.
January was the first
talaga.
one this year, correct. And it was held in Shanghai in January and in Manila, and then next time it goes back to China. So give and take.
What are we to expect from the BCM?
I guess the litmus test would be how the next RORA mission will play out.
Correct.
Right? We'll see.
Well, amid ongoing talks between Manila and Beijing, the China Coast Guard's biggest vessel, dubbed the Monster, has returned to the West Philippine Sea. Gio Robles with the details.
The number of Chinese ships in the West Philippine Sea may have decreased, but they have since been replaced by a Chinese aircraft carrier patrolling near the border of the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. And now, the so-called Chinese monster ship has also been spotted at Ayungin Shoal. According to maritime expert Ray Powell, the gigantic China Coast Guard ship 5901 returned to the area this morning to patrol with another CCG vessel. CCG vessel 5901 is the largest Coast Guard ship in the world, even larger than a football field. This is how the BRP Teresa Magbanwa, the largest Coast Guard vessel of the Philippines, compares to China's monster ship. Based on the monitoring of authorities, the monster ship passed through 12 Philippine territories in just 10 days. It was last spotted at Mischief Reef. With this, Powell questioned the sincerity of Beijing in pushing the bilateral consultation meeting to ease tensions.
When you're negotiating with China, that de-escalation is seldom China's first priority. China is always seeking to improve its own position and will take advantage of a de-escalation to do exactly that. So you always have to sort of watch what China does more closely than what it says.
Prior to this, Senator Amy Marcos revealed that China might utilize aerospace warfare to attack the Philippines, allegedly through hypersonic missiles.
Hindi naman nila iniisip na lulusob dito sa Pilipinas yung katakot-takot na army nila, mga navy nila. Hindi ganoon. Ang plano, air. At ang plano yung hypersonic missile at nakatakda na yung 25 na target nila.
According to reports, China's targets include the 9 EDCA sites in the Philippines where the United States has access. Hypersonic missiles are among the latest and most advanced military equipment in the world today. They can travel 5 times faster than the speed of sound, making it difficult for conventional air defense systems to intercept or defend against them. Even America, they say, can't counter the hypersonic missile.
Mas lalo akong ninervyos kasi akala ko kapag missile, meron yung ibang bansa yung tinatawag na Iron Dome, hindi makapasok yung missile. Kapag hypersonic daw, kayang-kaya pumasok. Ganyan lang kadali, durog daw.
According to the AFP, they are ready to cooperate with Senator Marcos regarding the plan revealed by China. They will investigate the 25 potential target areas of the hypersonic missiles. According to Powell, such a plan by China is not surprising.
Hypersonics is a technology that is in their arsenal, and I would expect them to, include all of the, sort of the potential sites that could be used by the U.S. and its allies in case in the God forbid some kind of a larger scale conflict. It is certainly something that we should prepare for.
For News 5, Gio Robles, we are One News.
Up next, the NBI says the fingerprints of Banban Mayor Alice Leal Go and the other Alice Leal Go who registered in 2005 were not a match. More details when we return. Keep it here. Welcome back. You're still watching The Big Story here on One News.
The NBI says that the fingerprints of Banban Mayor Alice Guo does not match that or those of the other Alice Guo, which means that they are two different people, as the photo seems to suggest, I think. Let's listen to this report by Elaine Fulgencio.
Two women, both named Alice Leal Go and both having the same July 12, 1986 birthday. Their photos already show that they are not the same person. This was confirmed further by the NBI fingerprint analysis, which showed that their fingerprints were not a match. But the question now is, where is the other Alice Go who is not the mayor? Her last NBI clearance update was recorded in 2005. The NBI is considering the possibility that the other Alice Go might have been ordered to file under that name.
Fictitious ito. At hindi Alice Guo ang pangalan niya. Nag-file lang, ginamit niya Alice Guo. May instruction na kumuha ka ng clearance under this name.
These findings, however, don't have any effect on an earlier fingerprint analysis which showed that the Mayor Alice Go's fingerprints matched those of Chinese passport holder Go Wangping. To confirm the results, the COMELEC says they will conduct their own verification of the fingerprints.
Take note, ang COMELEC ay may sariling handwriting and fingerprint experts. Kung meron ng NBI, meron din ng COMELEC. Nasa amin ang COC, nasa amin din ang application for registration as a registered voter.
The COMELEC says they will also request for a copy of the co-warranto petition that the Office of the Solicitor General eyes to file against the mayor. The Solgen says they are looking to file the petition within the week. In a statement, Senator Riza Hontiveros says that even if there are 10 Alice Go's found in the country, only Mayor Alice Go of Bamban-Tarlac was a Chinese citizen who became a mayor. She noted that the investigation is for the Alice Go, who is not a Filipino. The NBI is set to present the new results of their tests in the next Senate hearing. Reporting for News 5, Elaine Fulgencio, BR1 News.
Still on Mayor Alice Guo, documents released by Senator Win Gatchalian show that her brother is also a Chinese citizen and not a real Filipino. Gatchalian says that Wesley Leal Guo is a Chinese citizen whose name is allegedly Guo Xiangtian. This is based on Philippine and Chinese passports obtained by the senator from the Board of Investments and the National Bureau of Investigation. Wesley and Xiangtian's fingerprints matched based on their biometric records. Guo Xiangtian allegedly arrived in the Philippines in 1999 and was listed as a dependent son of Lin Wenyi, who is claimed to be the true mother of Mayor Alice Guo. According to Gatchalian, the family of Mayor Guo abused the allowance of delayed registration to pose as Filipinos.
Meanwhile, the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission is eager to work with China against illegal pogos. Ria Fernandez with that report.
Apart from alleged torture chambers, some illegal pogos have their own makeshift hospitals, similar to the one operatives raided in Pasay last May 15. That's why PAOK is now worried that criminal syndicates may have had the means to change their looks and identities all along. This underground pogo hospital in Pasay, for instance, is equipped with tools for cosmetic enhancements. There's a ward for hair follicle transplant, an area for crafting dentures, and a space for IV glutathione sessions.
With this hospital, yung underground hospital na yan, pwede na nilang pabago yung mukha nila. Pwede sila magpagawa ng, magpalagay ng buhok, magpabago ng kulay ng buhok, magpabago ng kulay ng mata, paayos nila yung ilong nila para mag-iba yung itsura nila. And since meron na silang ibang passport, pwede na rin nilang baguhin yung itsura nila, and then they can assume another identity.
PAOK is now banking on the recent meeting between Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin and the Chinese Embassy. The hope is that this will lead to intensified efforts around information sharing, especially over wanted fugitives with China. Both sides are also targeting to have joint training on cybercrime investigation.
Hindi naman talagang pwedeng ikaila na kailangan natin yung mga information na nanggagaling din sa mga Chinese authorities, specifically yung mga law enforcement agencies nila. Ang nangyayari kasi once yung mga criminal syndicate members ay nakaland na sa Pilipinas, they immediately assume another identity. So we need immediate verification para pag nahuli kagad natin sila, alam na kagad natin kung sino sila at malalaman din natin kaagad-agad ano yung criminal history nila.
PAOK is hoping to formalize their discussion with the Chinese embassy through an official agreement to jointly crack down on organized crime. For News 5, Ria Fernandez, We Are One News.
Meanwhile, House Speaker Martin Romualdez, for one, is not in favor of a blanket ban on pogos. In an interview on Teleradyo Servicios Gising Pilipinas, and first reported by ABS-CBN, Romualdez said, and I quote, "Pag tinotal ban mo yan, mawawala ba yan? Mag-underground lang yan kasi mukhang malakas talaga ang demand, andito na yan eh. Ako, sundan na lang natin muna kung ano yung nasa batas, strict enforcement, kagaya ng ginagawa ngayon ng mga law enforcement ng PNP ni Chairman Altenco, at ngayon lumalago pa ang revenue."
We're going to pause for a quick one right now, but right after that, Sofitel labor union secure a victory in its dispute with hotel management. We'll be speaking with Nestor Cabada. He's the president of the Philippine Plaza chapter of the union right after this.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Big Story here on One News.
The start of July marked the end for a celebrated establishment in Manila. I'm talking about the Sofitel Philippine Plaza, which has been around nearly half a century. But dozens of workers have been picketing outside the hotel for weeks over the terms of their imminent termination. The National Union of Workers in Hotel, Restaurant, and Allied Industries, or New RAIN, also claimed that the closure was a form of union busting and that the hotel was merely renovating and will open at a later date. But today, the Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, said the management of Sofitel and the labor union have settled the dispute. The two-page settlement agreement that they signed lays out separation packages for workers who choose to leave and also states that those who don't accept the separation package may return to their jobs should the hotel reopen. Here to talk to us about the case and how they arrived at the settlement, we have with us Nestor Cabada. He is the president of the Sofitel Philippine Plaza chapter of the National Union of Workers in Hotel, Restaurant, and Allied Industries, or New RAIN. Good evening, sir. New RAIN ba yung pronunciation? N-U-W-H-R-A-I-N.
Good evening po, ladies. New RAIN po yun, New RAIN.
New RAIN, okay.
New RAIN, okay.
Opo.
So, sir, Mr. Cabada, talk us through the terms of the settlement that you signed, the union signed with Sofitel last night. From my understanding, the two biggest issues were separation pay and the return of the workers should the hotel reopen. Tama po ba?
Opo, actually, ang pinaka-issue po doon ay yung return of the workers pag nag-reopen. Kasi yung mga manggagawa po ng Sofitel, on May 8 ay binigyan ho ng notice of termination po. Kaya ang position po ng aming union ay dapat po walang tanggalan, kundi ay dapat manatili po bilang mga trabahador o mga workers, yung mga empleyado po ng Sofitel. So, nung kagabi po, nung July 2, ay nagkaroon po ng agreement. I think it's not only a victory of the workers, it's victory of the hotel. Bakit po? Kasi po, pag nag-reopen po, ibig sabihin, ang sasalubong sa aming mga guests ay masaya lahat. Masaya yung mga empleyado, masaya yung hotel.
Sir Nestor,
So yun po.
Okay. Pwede nyo bang po kaming bigyan ng linaw kung ano po ba yung terms no nung pagbabalik? Kasi nakalagay yan sa nababasa ko sa mga reports no, if and when mag-reopen ang hotel. Ngayon, if ba talaga siya or when ba talaga po siya? Meron po ba talagang plano ang Sofitel na buksan ulit ang hotel? I know kailangan na pong i-renovate, pero ano pong magyayari kung iba pong hotel group ang mag-take over? Valid pa rin po ba yung CBA ninyo?
Sa amin po, nung nagkaroon po ng agreement nung July 2 gabi, ay naniwala kami po na in good faith po yung lahat ng pinag-usapan po doon, lahat ng agreement doon. So sa amin po, halimbawa dumating sa punto po na ganyan, na iba na po yung mag-operate o may-ari po, ay dapat to siguro ay pag-usapan din namin uli. So yun ang position po namin. Kasi naniwala po kami na yung pinag-usapan namin nung gabi, nung July 2, ay in good faith.
Nestor, maaari mo ba kaming bigyan ng numero kung ilan yung mga empleyado that chose not to accept a separation package and umaasa pa po na mai-employ muli kapag nagbukas muli itong hotel?
Actually, wala akong actual na numbers, pero naniniwala po ang union na majority pa rin po sa mga union members ay umaasa pong makabalik sa trabaho.
Okay. Sir Nestor, linawin din
Ilan ba
natin.
yung union members to begin with?
Yung sa Rang File ho, we have 241 union members ho.
241?
Yung sa supervisory ho, kasi dalawa po yan. Yung sa supervisory, ay meron ho silang 80.
Okay.
241 union members, 80 of them supervisory.
Yes po.
241 rank and file union members
Correct.
and 80 supervisory union
Correct.
members. So 300
Opo.
plus.
And in total, how many employees does Sofitel have?
Yung ano na number ho namin, ay tingin namin po mga 500 ho, plus kung kasama yung mga contractual and casuals and others, ay abot po ng 1,000.
Okay. Meron kasi din akong nabasa, linawin lang din natin, Sir Nestor, no? Nakalagay
Opo.
kung kinuha ninyo yung separation pay, if you choose to avail the separation pay, off the table na, hindi na po makakabalik kung mag-reopen yung hotel. Tama po ba yun?
Nasa ano na po yan. Siyempre yung premise po niyan, pag kinuha mo yung separation pay, separated ka na from the employment to the hotel. Pero kung sakali po ay nag-reopen at mag-apply sa kukunin pa rin ng management yun, nasa kanila na po yun. It's their choice decision.
Wala po tayong listahan nung mga hindi tumanggap ng separation package?
Ay, wala pa po. Sa union, wala pa po.
Okay, Nestor, maaari mo ba kaming kwentuhan ng konti dun sa simula nito? Because you mentioned that
Okay.
you receive a termination letter by May 8, effective, of course, by end of June. Ano po yung sinabi sa inyo? Paano kayo nasabihan? Maaga ba? May 8 lang ba o mas maaga nun? At ano po yung naipangako? Ano yung binigay na dahilan? I mean, tell us how this all unfolded for the employees of Sofitel.
Sige po, sa maikli pong siguro maikling background. Yung pong hotel ay naniniwala po kami na may edad na, 50 years to be sa sunod na 2 taon. So right now maging 48 na siya. So siguro kailangan na po talagang i-renovate. Ang sinasabi lang po nila ay marami na pong sira na dapat ayusin. So kailangan, ang sabi po nila, unsafe na yung building. Pero ang nakapagtataka po noon, siyempre, unsafe yung building, pero mag-ooperate pa hanggang June 30. Sinabi sa amin, noong May 7, nag-usap po yung union at saka yung management at sinabing magpo-closure na. Siyempre po, na-shock po yung mga gagawa, yung union, dahil ang inaasahan po namin ay magre-renovate, hindi po magpo-close. So on the following day, on May 8, ay nagbigay ko sila ng termination letter sa mga empleyado po. Lalo ako nagulat. Bakit kailangan bigyan ng termination letter yung mga empleyado kung magre-renovate? So yun po, doon nagsimula po yung problema po namin na tumantong po. Kasi siyempre, kami po, sa union, meron pa kaming 2 years sa rank and file mayroon pang dapat 2 years na i-renegotiate yung collective bargaining agreement. Ang sinasabi lang nila, dahil sa pangyayari, hindi na nakapag-negotiate. So, nag-file kami ng notice of strike sa Department of Labor, wherein na ang sinasabi namin, refusal to bargain, at saka po yung unfair labor practice, union busting. Bakit po union busting? Dahil tingin po namin, ay tatanggalin lahat ng empleyado, lalo na mga membro, para po mawala yung union, mabuwag. So ganun po yung simpleng tingin namin. Nagkaroon ng conference sa Department of Labor, tapos ultimately, nung June 2 ay nagkaroon po ng agreement. Na wherein, ang dinidiman po ng union ay dapat walang termination, dapat retention of employment, tapos po yung acknowledgement po ng union at saka yung kanilang collective bargaining agreement. Pero nakuha po namin nung July 2 ng gabi po. At yun ay napagkasundo namin na ang sinasabi namin, pumayag po kami na during the renovation, ay yung mga empleyado ay suspended muna yung kanilang employment at upon reopening, naniwala kayo magre-reopen po kasi ay dapat bumalik po na sila resumption of their job and or employment. At saka po yung recognition po ng union at saka yung collective bargaining agreement. Doon yung nagkaroon kami ng agreement. So tingin ko po namin, sabi ko nga kanina, ay yung agreement is a win-win solution. O ibig sabihin, kung magbubukas yung hotel later on, ay masaya yung mga empleyado at masaya yung hotel na sasalubong sa mga bagong guests later on pag nagbukas.
Sir
Ayun po.
Nestor, out of curiosity, gaano katagal na po kayo nagtatrabaho sa Sofitel?
Ayun po, ako po
Westin pa ba? Nung mga unang...
Opo, Westin.
Westin pa
Yes
nandun
po,
na po.
Westin. O kasi yung unang management dyan po ay Westin. Westin Philippine Plaza. Nandyan na po ako noon, nung Westin pa po yung hotel.
Okay.
Matagal na po ako dyan.
With regard naman
Kasi
dun sa... sige, go ahead po, Kuya Nestor.
Tapos, nagpalit po ng management, which dito, yung Accor nga ho, yung Sofitel, nagpalit ng pangalan, brand. So, during the nagpalitan po ng management from Westin to Sofitel, ay wala naman pong tinanggal ng mga empleyado. So, inabsorb po lahat. When in fact ho, yung hotel ay dati po ay government-owned controlled corporation. Nagkaroon ng privatization at binili po ng mga foreign corporation yung Allied Kajima po at saka ang nagmamay-ari sa Pilipinas yung Philippine Plaza Holdings Incorporated po. At nung nagkabilihan po, wala na pong tinanggal sa mga empleyado. Lahat po sila inabsorb. So ganun na po ako katagal diyan. Westin pa po yan.
Correct. Naalala ko pa nga po yun. Having said that, quick follow-up lang dun sa renovation plans. Nung una kasi, nung di pa po kayo nagkakasundo nung management, kung anong magyayari sa mga empleyado, ay you guys believe sa union na matutuloy talaga yung renovations. Pero kasi kaming nasa labas, hindi po namin sure kung sarado na ba talaga or i-renovate ba talaga, i-repair po ba talaga. Mabibigyan niyo po ba ng linaw kung ano po ba talaga ang magyayari dun sa hotel?
Kami po ay naniniwala po, kaya po pinaglaban po namin na kami makabalik sa trabaho. Naniniwala po kami na ito'y renovation lamang po. Hindi ito total closure. Kasi kung total closure, sana sinabi na po nila, may mga requirements po ng batas na alam na po namin na pagka closure, permanent closure, ay may mga dapat silang mga sundin dapat. So kami po, naniniwala po kami na ito'y renovation lamang po. Kasi yung iba pong yung ibang gamit po, nandyan na po yung mga bagong gamit ng hotel So yun po, ang paniwala namin na ito'y renovation lamang po.
Sir Nestor, hindi naman po kaila sa amin na meron nga dyang yung dating Sofitel hindi na po pareho yung itsura dahil may reclamation na nangyayari doon sa harapan. Kumbaga, yung dating magandang tanawin ng Manila Bay, puro sand ang nakikita natin. Maaari po bang, ito yung dahilan? Ito yung tunay na dahilan? Kaya may ganitong renovation na tinutulak ng management. Ano po yung naririnig po ninyo dyan? na balak nilang gawin?
Actually po, tingin namin po hindi yun ang dahilan. Dahil ang sabi po nila, pagka natapos nga yung mga buhabuhangin doon na tinambak, ay sabi nila pag natapos raw yun, yun ang balibalita po. Wala ako namang konkreto dyan, wala namang katibayan dyan. Pero allegedly, pag natapos po yung tambakan dyan, ay mas maganda pa raw po kaysa dati. Kasi parang may lagun-lagun daw. I'm not sure about that. Pero yun po ang narinig namin. So tingin namin, kung yun ang dahilan, hindi po yung dahilan. Ang sinasabi lang nila, as if yung building, dahil luma na, marami nang i-repair. So doon po kami nanggagaling. Na ibig sabihin, hindi po closure, kundi po renovation. Kasi i-repair lang po yung mga dapat i-repair. At saka yung mga bago pong kagamitan sa hotel ay dumating na po. Ang papalitan po nila yung elevator, pero yung mga kama po, mga bago yan, yung ibang gamit sa rooms, bago yan. So, ganun po ang paniniwala po namin na ito yung renovation talaga lamang po.
There are reports actually that says the management has extended lease of that land until 2041.
We will find out if tama nga si Mr. Cabada. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Nestor Cabada, President of the Sofitel Philippine Plaza Chapter of the National Union of Workers in Hotel, Restaurant, and Allied Industries, or New Rain.
In sports news, target achieved. That was what Philippine Olympic Committee President Bambol Tolentino had to say after the Philippines reached 22 Olympic athletes for Paris 2024. Completing the contingent are hurdlers Lauren Hoffman and John Cabang Tolentino, who officially earned their berths at Paris at the close of the qualifying window for athletics. The Philippine Athletics Track and Field Association and Philippine Sports Commission confirmed the qualification of the two tracksters, with Hoffman competing in the women's 400-meter hurdles and Tolentino in the men's 110-meter hurdles, respectively. Hoffman barely made the 40-entry cutoff after finishing 39th, while Tolentino earned his Olympic Games Paris 2024 slot after clinching the 30th spot. Only the top 40 athletes for respective event qualify for the Olympics. The Philippines now has the most number of Olympic athletes at 22 since Barcelona of 1992. Meanwhile, fresh in Metz, France, is Tokyo bronze medalist Yumir Marshall after his 2-month training in the United States. Marshall now joins Team Philippines in their preparations for the upcoming Paris Olympics. Marshall, along with fellow boxers Carlo Paalam and Hergy Bakiadan, will depart for Saarbrücken, Germany on Thursday to join a training camp with boxers from other countries.
Right, and just enough time for our big picture night before we say goodbye. We have this post from the Armed Forces of the Philippines categorically denying reports claiming that hundreds of U.S. Javelin missiles were delivered to the country. The AFP said that this photo is actually from a separate, legitimate delivery of missiles to the Ukraine in February of 2022 and has been tampered with or edited to fit the deceptive narrative. The AFP also called on the public to be critical of the information that they consume and share, especially those that come from anonymous sources.
Which brings us back to the whole argument about how can you tell fakes from real ones, and especially now with the advent of deep fakes with AI, right?
They've gotten really good.
I mean, sabi nila dapat daw i-corroborate ng multiple sources, which is
one of the basic tenets of
diba?
fact-checking.
Except we all know that bad news travels much faster than
On
good
social
news.
media.
And social media, what was it by that Cambridge study? Was it 7 times, 8 times faster than good news? So an image like this, which can cause fear and alarm, of course, you know, people are gonna engage.
Actually,
People
a
are gonna
friend over the
share.
weekend asked me if we should build bunkers already. They're that concerned. They're probably watching too much TikTok.
Maybe. And yes, so yun nga, that's the worry over fakes on social media, right?
It can cause panic. It can cause people to think about building bomb shelters and bunkers.
And it takes only one. Okay, fine. The AFP debunked it this time around, but how far will that debunking travel, right?
Correct.
Maybe not as far
Not
as
as
the
viral.
original post had gotten.
Remember, we were interviewing Rendon Labrador and we were saying, alam mo, kailangan mo i-fact check kasi mahirap bawiin. Pag
sabi
nasabi
niya,
mo na, di ba, mahirap
oo.
nang bawin. Ang sabi niya, pwede naman mag-sorry. Yes, pwede mag-sorry, but yun nga,
Hindi na mag-viral, hindi na mag-viral yung sorry.
Correct.
Oo, ang
Correct.
mag-viral
And that's
yung...
the problem with mis and disinformation.
Pero yung sorry ni Rendon, nag-viral naman itong huli.
different issue.
Different
naman.
issue. Okay, so hindi natin control anong magva-viral, anong hindi magva-viral, but that's it for the show tonight.
We can't control though what we share online, right?
Yes, we can.
We share on Messenger for one.
And Viber.
So verify. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
And watch the news, like the big story. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.